Alright, so now let's talk markups. So most of the time, stores offer discounts during sales. However, if they did this all the time, they would more than likely go out of business. Actually, stores and manufacturers will usually increase the price of their items to make a profit. This is called a markup. So profit is a financial gain, especially the difference between the amount earned and the amount spent in buying, operating, or producing something. So markup is the amount added to the cost of goods to cover the overhead and profit. So overhead is the indirect cost or fixed expenses of operating a business. That is the cost not directly related to the manufacture of a product or delivery of a service. That range from rent to administrative cost to marketing cost. Overhead refers to the non-labor expenses required to operate your business. So putting this simply, business use markups to make money. So let's look at a few examples now. I am going to show you a couple different ways to find the markup of an item. So our first example, a video game costs $40 to make. To make a profit, a manufacturer marks it up by 20%. What is the markup amount? What is the new price of the game? So we're going to look at a couple different ways to find the markup of this problem. So method 1 is to find out the value of the markup. So step 1, you subtract the percent discount. You change the percent discount to a decimal. It's been a long day, guys. So we're going to change our discount, which is 20%, to a decimal. So we change 20% to a decimal, and when we do that, we get 0.20. Step 2 is we are going to multiply the decimal we just found by the original cost, and this will allow us to find the markup. So the original cost of the video game is $40. So we are going to multiply 0.20 times $40, and when we do that, we get 8 or $8. Step 3, we are going to add the markup price to the original cost. So we are going to add $40, if you remember that was our original value, to $8. So it's going to be 40 plus 8 to get $48. So the new price of the game is $48. So we are going to use the same problem, but work it out in a different way. I am going to put the problem down here so we don't have to keep flipping back and forth. So a video game costs $40 to make. To make a profit, a manufacturer marks it up 20%. What is the markup amount? And what is the new price? So method 2, create an equation to find the answer. So the first step is to write a question. So we are going to ask ourselves, what is 20% of 40? Remember that of means multiplication. So now that we have our question set up, step 2 is going to be translate the word problem into mathematical symbols. All this means is we are going to write a math problem. So we're going to use our variable, and remember a variable is a letter or symbol that stands for our unknown. So I used M. You can use whatever variable you prefer. So M equals, we're going to use our decimal of 0.20 times the original cost, which was $40. When we multiply that, we get $8. So our last step is to add the markup price to the original cost. So our original cost is $40. We're going to add $8 to that, and when we do that, we get $48. So the new price of the game is $48. So as you can see, both ways will get the same result. You just need to pick one that works best for you. Alright, so now let's look at finding the original cost. You can also find the original cost of an item if you know the final price and the markup. So let's look at an example of how to do this. So our example, a bakery charges $5.08 for a cake. In order to make a profit, the store marks its goods up by 70%. What is the original cost of the cake? So step 1 is to add the percent of the original cost of the cake to the percent of the markup to get the total percent. So if you remember, percent means of 100. So our percent base is going to be 100%. Then we are going to add that to the markup percent given to us in the problem, which is 70%. So it's going to be 100% plus 70% equals 170%. Why do we have a percentage over 100? Well, this is because you paid the full original cost plus the store's markup. Therefore, the cost of the cake is actually 170% of the original cost. And once again, we use 100% of the original cost because you are paying for 100% of it. Step 2 is convert the percent to a decimal. So I know what you're thinking, we have a percent over 100. It's not possible. Well, actually it is. So 170% as a decimal is just simply what we are going to do. Anytime you have a percent over 100 in front of your decimal point, you have to put a number in there. So if we have a value over just 100%, we put a 1 there. If it's over 200%, we put a 2. If it's over 300%, we put a 3, and so on. So since we have 170%, we're going to put a 1 there. Then we put our decimal, and then we put our 7. Now, you can absolutely have 1.70 as your decimal. Just remember, if the 0 is our last place in the decimal, it's just a placeholder. It's not necessary, but you can absolutely put it there. It's 100% correct. So step 3 is to solve for original cost. So we use our selling price, or how much the bakery is selling for, which is $5.08. We are going to multiply that by our percent, which is 1.7 times our variable. And I use C. You can pick whatever variable you want. It doesn't matter. So we have a one-step equation. If you remember, division is the opposite of multiplication. So we are going to divide by 1.7 to get C alone. Remember, in a one-step equation, our goal is to get the variable by itself. So our equation is 5.08 equals 1.7 times C. We are going to divide both sides by 1.7 to get our variable by itself. So whatever we do over here, we also have to do over here. So 0.58 divided by 1.7. So when we divide that out, we get C equals 2.99. Remember that since we are dealing with money, we round to the nearest cent. So the original cost of the cake was $2.99.